Some crazy times for the Cubs here at Great American Ballpark over the last calendar year or so. We've had the Schwarber game, the Arrieta no-hitter, the Bryant game, and last night, the Madden game. Cubs and Reds, Game 3. Welcome to Cubs baseball here on WGN. Cubs go for the sweep today. And JD, explain what happened last night.
Animal crackers. That's what happened last night. Complete bedlam in this ball game. If John Lester, first off, was outstanding, but the lead got away. Hector Rondon blew the save. We went into extra innings. Joe Madden with the short bench had to mix and match. Ultimately, we had 3 different pitchers playing left field in that ball game. Javi Baez hit a big grand slam in the top half of the 15th after Chris Bryant had driven in the go-ahead run, and a nice win for the Cubs in a tough, demoralizing loss for Cincinnati.
And if it had gone a couple more innings, you might have seen Matt Caesar on the mound. That's how wild it was. Kyle Hendricks will go today for the Cubs. It'll be left-hander Cody Reed for the Reds. It has been wild and wacky here in Cincinnati. The Cubs on this long road trip, 3 up and 3 down. We'll have Cubs baseball coming up next. Cubs baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Not backing down since 1876. This Bud's for you. Honda. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda. Now at your Honda dealer. State Farm. There for you when things go wrong, but also here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today at 800 State Farm. Mattress Firm, where we want you to sleep happy guaranteed. Remember, if it's over 8, it's time to replace. Your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Chicago Cubs baseball in high definition is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Got some kids walking the warning track on the field, and oh, the Cubs starting pitcher makes an appearance.
Well, that's fitting, all the kids, because that's essentially what the Cubs are running out there today. A bunch of kids, which are 26 and unders, and plus Ben Zobrist. So it's Ben and the youngins. Benny and
we'll come up with something. Cubs have won 8 of 9 so far in this season series, outscoring them by a wide margin. 21 home runs already for the Cubs in this 9-game season series. And they'll face a guy they have not seen previously in left-hander Cody Reed, and he'll face this Southwest starting lineup. It is Ben Zobrist in the leadoff spot. Chris Bryant with the game-winning hit last night and a career game Monday. Anthony Rizzo's having a red-hot month of June. Wilson Contreras continues to get into that lineup every day on this trip. He's back at the plate. Baez with the latest grand slam in club history in the 15th inning. Matt Caesar, Addison Russell, Kyle Hendricks, and Albert Almora Jr. batting ninth today.
Here are the Reds defensively. Adam Duvall left, Billy Hamilton center, Jay Bruce right. Suarez at third, Peraza spells Cozart at short today. Phillips and Votto, as they've been so many times over the years, on the right side of the infield. Tucker Barnhart is back behind the plate. And on the mound, youngster, 23-year-old left-hander Cody Reed making his third major league start. Kid's got a real good arm. He's got a wipeout slider. He can get to 97 miles an hour with the fastball. He'll work mostly 90 to 95. There are the numbers through his first two starts. Part of the package they received from Kansas City last year in the Johnny Cueto deal, and considered to be one of the better pitching prospects in the game.
Marty Foster gets home plate today. Gabe Morales at first, Mike Malinsky at second, and the crew chief Mike Winters over at third. Reed to Zobrist, who puts down an excellent bunt. Safe at first. Shows you the versatility, doesn't it, of Ben Zobrist. As last night he led off the game with a home run. Today, a bunt single. "71 degrees.
Probably up all night contemplating this plate appearance, and dropped down just a dandy of a bunt.
Mostly cloudy conditions right now. Picture perfect. That great weather all 3 days here in Cincinnati. So Bryant last night, the game-winning hit, RBI single in the 15th, 7 RBIs in the series. Made history on Monday night with a 3-homer 2-double performance.
He's now hit 5 home runs in this ballpark this year, and you may recall last year he hit 5 home runs on the road all season. Reed, one of those guys that you can see where he'd be awfully tough on lefties. His third pitch is a changeup. That's going to be a key for him as he continues to develop to help neutralize right-handed bats.
2-1. Short lead by Zobrist. The pitch is lined into center. Zobrist is going to try for third. Going to be a play there, and he's safe. Good base running by Zobrist. They're at the corners with nobody out.
And nice to apply a little pressure here to the rookie. Bryant continues his good work in this ballpark. You see Zobrist kind of reading it as he sees Billy Hamilton approach that base hit and says, yeah, let's go for it.
So it'll bring up Anthony Rizzo. Suarez looks like he's going to play in. They're back up the middle, double play depth. Votto holds on Bryant. Cubs just keep adding to the list of big performances, bizarre occurrences here at Great American Ballpark. Let's see, Sammy Sosa hit his 500th here. Cubs were here when they clinched in '07. Remember the Rizzo Chapman
little dust
up near the Reds dugout. The Schwarber game, Arrieta's no-hitter. The Bryant game, Starlin Castro's record major league debut. That one driven out into left center, and it will be not caught by anybody, and Hamilton's down. Zobrist will score. Bryant around third. Rizzo on his way to third. Gary Jones is going to send him, and he will score. An inside the park 3-run homer unless they give an error. And Hamilton is still down. And we hope he's all right.
Well, you're rattling off that list of accomplishments and bizarre things in this ballpark, and there's one more for you. Anthony Rizzo circling the bases, and you attend to Billy Hamilton out there in center field. If the ball got him in the head, or you got a piece of Duvall, or I guess Duvall got a piece of him. Initially off the bat it looked relatively harmless, but two guys in hot pursuit, and I think the ball hit him in the face. I think as Duvall crossed in front of him, he lost sight of that baseball.
That is a 3-run inside the park home run for Rizzo. So 3 batters in, the Cubs lead 3-0. But right now there's a lot of concern for Billy Hamilton. Yeah, I think it did hit him in the face.
Baseball hit him in the face.
Yep. Wow. So that is Rizzo's 19th home run.
Keeps his hitting streak alive. He's posted the highest batting average in the National League in the month of June, highest on base plus slugging.
Hamilton.
A little dazed and confused right now.
Yep. Handset video to get a closer look. Cannot imagine he would stay in the game.
Well, I don't know, because I think they would probably be walking him off. It's the kind of thing we get hit in the head and he's kind of dazed and out of it for a little while. And maybe if he can kind of buy a little time and get his wits about him. But yeah, I think he is going to exit via the Reds bullpen out there.
They might have to do some concussion tests. So an early exit for Hamilton. We hope he's all right. And Brian Price will to summon a bench player. It's like Tyler Holt will come in to replace Hamilton. I mean, we're 3 batters in, and we've already seen a bizarre turn of events. So Holt will end up leading off the bottom of the first, replacing Hamilton. And Reed taking some extra warm-up tosses here after the delay.
Holt, a speed guy like Hamilton, but doesn't possess Hamilton's world-class speed. Take a look at the Southwest Airlines. How far did it fly? Distance of this home run. We're going to mark it at 333 for the inside the Parker for Rizzo. Go to WGNTV.com/contest for a chance to win round trip travel for 2 on Southwest Airlines.
I've got this as his first career inside the park home run. It's the 12th home run he's hit here in this ballpark, which is the most at any park other than Wrigley Field. And 1-0 on Wilson Contreras. Still nobody out. Ground ball to the shortstop, Peraza. That is the first out.
That's the 6th home run Anthony's hit in this ballpark this year. That ties the the record set by Lance Berkman for an opposing player here a few years back.
Baez takes a strike. Maybe the most important insurance runs you'll ever see, with the grand slam last night after the Cubs had taken the lead. And he flies out into deep right center. Bruce up against the padding of the wall makes the catch to rob Baez of a possible double or triple.
Yeah, great swing. Nice to see him stay on the ball. The grand slam last night was straightaway center field. This time he drives it to deep right center, just misses knocking it out of here, but that's a good sign because there's a tendency for Javi to pull off the ball.
Now there's so much to chew on from last night. If the Reds tie it in the 15th, as Caesar out into deep right, Bruce takes a look back. He's at the wall, little leap, he makes the catch, and that ends a crazy top of the first inning. Can't even talk about last night because of the way this one has started. Wow. Cubs 3, Reds coming up. Will line up this way, and the change, Holt in for the injured Hamilton. Votto, Phillips, Bruce 2, 3, 4. Duvall 19 of his 21 home runs since the beginning of May. Suarez tied the game last night in the 9th. Peraza spelling Cozart at short. Barnhart the catcher, and Reed the pitcher.
Cubs afield are lined thusly: Caesar, Elmore Jr., Zobrist left, center, right. Bryant, Russell, Baez, Rizzo third to first. Wilson Contreras back behind the plate. And today's Cubs starting pitcher brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, the card to carry through it all. Kyle Hendricks making his 15th start, losing record at 5-6 despite a very good earned run average of 2.76.
Here's Holt to lead it off.
2.76 ERA for Kyle, 12th best in the National League.
You mentioned in the open John Lester. I'm glad you did. His performance last night completely lost in the insanity that occurred in extra innings. John went 7 2/3, gave up 1 run on 3 hits and a no decision. Winning pitcher last night was Spencer Patton, his first decision as a Cub. 3 pitchers played left field.
Yeah, the summation that Peter Chase put in the Cubs notes today is spot on. Yeah, if we get a chance, I want to read it to you.
Yeah, it's worth it. As Holt shows bunt, takes a strike.
Hendricks, sinkers, changeups, occasional curveball, high ground ball rate.
And I assume he was back at the team hotel resting comfortably as a lot of that craziness occurred. I mean, we might have been an inning or 2 away from him getting a phone call. Although Joe did tell me before the game he probably would have used Matt Caesar had we gone to the 17th or 18th. Like to stay away from your starting pitchers. Jason Hamill did pinch hit. Jake Arrieta, I think, was a little aggravated. He wasn't used as a pinch hitter. John Lackey didn't get into the game. That's it. Those 3 guys, Hendricks, Lackey, Arrieta. Only 3 on the roster who did not participate. I'm glad this game last night was not played in September. That would not have been nearly as fun.
Right.
It's the restriction of the 25-man roster.
It leads to the creativity and the what ifs. And
the 2-2 pitch, cued foul. Travis Wood now wants to play shortstop.
Okay, here you go from the great Peter Chase, the Cubs media notes. Chicago Cubs players last night contributed to a wild win in Cincinnati that featured 9 hits from hitters, 8 pitchers pitching, 7 runs of scoring, 6 left fielders fielding, 5 fifth-inning runs a crossing, 4 non-sequential outs from a pitcher who closed the game after entering as an outfielder, 3 hurlers outfielding, 2 slick inning-ending double plays, and a grand slam to cap it all off.
Yeah. Pedro Strop wasn't really available until he was needed to play left in the 15th. Russell gets Holt.
Yeah, and Joe was trying his darndest to stay away from Travis Wood last night too, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and I guess if the situation had played out, maybe he would have used Strop for a batter. The only thing that didn't happen in that game that should have happened was a game-ending catch by Strop, running one down in the gap out there in left center.
Here's Joey Votto. 2 homers on Monday, 0 for 6 last night. Takes a sinker off the inside corner. Also, for clarification, if we see something like we saw late last night, Rule 5.10D, a pitcher may change to another position only once during the same inning. So you can do what Joe did last night, but you can't do it more than once an inning. So you're pitching, you go to another defensive position, you come back to pitcher, you can't then go back to that position until the following inning. Good caffeine morning.
Yeah, a little high test for everybody this morning.
Three and 1 the count on Votto.
It's Kyle's first look at the Reds this year. Career 1-1 with a .434 against Cincinnati.
Outer edge for a strike. Votto not so sure. 3 and 2. Votto really chokes up with 2 strikes. And he drills it into center for a 1-out single.
That one caught a fair bit of home plate. Votto made Kyle pay.
When Joey Votto swings like that, and he does it a lot, it looks like he'll never make an out. Just that particular pitch, the plate coverage, all of it, it just looks like, how does anybody get him out? Guys have gotten him out this year, but he's doing this. He looks unbeatable. Just looks like he can do this whenever he wants.
Widen the stance, choke up, use the hands. Bat stays in the zone a good long while.
Brandon Phillips had a wild night on his 35th birthday. Fouled off 2 pitches off his foot. Was hit by a pitch in the ribs. He was hobbling all night, but he did score the game tying run in the 9th on a very nice slide into home plate. He pops it up. You could hear on our field microphone Anthony Rizzo calling off his teammates as he makes the catch.
Yeah, any number of options to catch that ball, so you want somebody to come in and just take charge. And being the alpha dog there in the infield, why not Rizzo? Kyle had a weird one last time out. Got a no decision against the Marlins. He went 5 innings, allowed 1 hit. But it was a grand slam in the bottom of the first by Justin Bour after an error and a couple of walks. Cubs went on to win that game 5-4, their only win in Miami.
Elias reporting Hendricks was the first pitcher in the modern era, that's since 1900, to give up 1 hit in 5 innings, with that 1 hit being a grand slam. All those runs were unearned. So I cannot imagine we'll ever see a line quite like it. 5 innings, 1 hit, 4 runs, unearned, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. You're right. It was bizarre.
Yeah, the Marlin hitters, worked those walks. They did a real nice job laying off his changeup. The previous start, just the opposite. The Pirates couldn't lay off the changeup, and they couldn't do anything with it, and he struck out a career high 12. Well, it figures either Jay Bruce or Adam Duvall will be an all-star this year. Reds having the best years, those 2 fellas. They're corner outfielders.
High fly out to left. And it's Matt Caesar with 2 hands on it. And we've completed an inning from Cincinnati. It's the Cubs 3 and the Reds nothing. If you want to manage the game along with Joe Madden, first of all, buckle up. Log on to WGNTV.com right now and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and info while watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Everything you need to have more fun at home this summer. Cubs facing Cody Reed for the first time. Addison Russell. 1 ball, 1 strike. Reed is from Horn Lake, Mississippi, just south of Memphis, Tennessee. To Northwest Mississippi Community College. You see the specs he's wearing. His mom in high school, when he was in high school, his mom said, "You got to wear them." He had a good game, and so he decided, that's it, I'm going to wear them from now on. Mom knows best. Russell grounds out.
Got the Ollie G thing going.
Here's the pitcher, Hendricks, third time on this trip. The pitcher has batted 8th. Joe said the minor league experience, and he had a lot of it, managing at various levels, really allowed him to have the creativity to do something like he did last night. He said without that experience, he probably doesn't even attempt what he did last night. He said it really energized the dugout. You know, Travis has been begging to play the outfield.
Travis is such a good athlete. It gives Joe that one last option.
Having a 4-man bench, it really is nice to have a pitcher you can count on to do something like that.
I saw Roy Oswalt play left field once. Phil Garner tells a great story about the Pirates playing out at Candlestick Park, and Chuck Tanner did a similar thing and stuck Tekulve out in left field. And there was a pop-up out in shallow left with the wind swirling, and just the way Gar would tell the story, Teak running around out there like a baby giraffe. But he made the play.
Swing and a miss for Reed's first strikeout. That'll bring up Albert Almora Jr. Had a lot of people wonder about, could Patton or Wood have gotten a win and a save with all the maneuvering? No, you can only get one or the other. There was no save recorded last night. Patton got the victory.
Bullpen actually should be in pretty decent shape today. Obviously, they used a lot of pitchers, but most of them didn't throw a lot of pitches. But maybe a bigger concern for the Reds, because some of their guys did throw a lot of pitches. They sent out J.J. Hoover, who gave up the grand slam to Javi Baez. It's the 6th grand slam that Hoover has allowed in his career. 34 at-bats in those situations. A really tough go for him.
Almora strikes out as the Cubs go 1-2-3, but they lead on the inside the park homer by Rizzo, 3-0 early.
Cubs blog at WGNTV.com. The blog is sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide insurance agent. Serving the area for 38 years. To join the nation, contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side.
Tons of Cub fans here in Cincinnati this week. Kyle Hendricks with a 3-0 lead. Here's Adam Duvall, 2 for 11, couple of doubles, 2 knocked in the series. And a strike. Oh, and 2. Hendricks has a sign from Contreras. Went with a changeup. Off the plate in.
A lot of times he likes to throw that cut changeup moving away from a right-handed hitter, but now and then he'll try to throw it in on him, and that appeared to be the case. Sometimes it'll just drift in there on him, but I think that was intentional.
On the ground to Bryant at third.
The Cubs are the hottest ticket this summer, so let's go. Your best option for future games, Monday through Thursday. Very limited availability on weekends throughout the summer. Don't wait. Plan now. Visit Cubs.com.
Ready for the scoreboard stumper?
Yo, is it out already?
Yeah, courtesy Jamie Ramsey, our buddy with the Reds Media Relations Department. Here it is. This is a question they put on the scoreboard here in Cincy every day. 5 players with the surname beginning with the letter P, as in Phillips, have been named to the All-Star team while playing for the Reds. Who are they?
I'll go with Phillips. Perez, as in Tony.
Yeah, that will work.
Parker Dave.
Ooh, I like it. 1-1 on Suarez.
Pinson Veda.
You're rolling. Might there be a pitcher in there? I don't have all the answers.
Is that a hint?
No, no, no.
Oh, no.
I don't have any of the answers. Only have the
Funny
question.
when you think Reds, you immediately turn to hitters.
You do. Yep. Suarez strikes out. That's number 1 for Hendricks.
As a team, this group, they don't walk a whole lot. Votto does, but just about everybody else in their lineup is below average in terms of walk rate, and they got some guys that swing and miss a whole bunch, or at least strike out a whole bunch.
How about Bob Perky?
Bob Perky?
Pitcher. Yeah.
Was he an All-Star?
That's what I'm saying.
You're just throwing it out there? Probably not Bill Plummer.
Rixey is the all-time Reds leader in wins. Pitched for Cincinnati from 1921 to 1933. And won I had it here. Hang on. 179 games. If you look at their all-time wins list, you got to go on the way back machine. Kind of the most modern of the top winners in Reds history, Jim Maloney.
How many did Maloney win?
He won 134 from 1960 to 1970.
Tommy Browning won 100 games here, didn't he?
123. He's 12th on the list. Noodles Hahn is 11.
Hahn. He got that nickname because he used to deliver soup to his dad. His dad worked at a piano manufacturing facility or something that. And when Noodles was a boy, well, when he was a boy, he wasn't Noodles yet.
Raza serves one into right center for a 2-out hit.
But he used to, his mom would make soup for Dad at work, and the kid would bring it down, and the other employees started calling him Noodles. Here comes Noodles.
The fact that you know all that information is either the most impressive thing or the weirdest thing about you.
Thing.
Yeah, for some reason I knew you had all kinds of Noodles Hahn information.
That's one origin story for that nickname. There may be more.
Rizzo will scoop and get Barnhart to end the inning and our Noodles Hahn conversation. For now, there may be more later. You never know.
We might be 15 innings.
3-0. Hey, Chicagoland viewers, it's time for the Subway third inning triple play promotion. Text Subway 3 to 97999 right now. And the 300th texter will win a $30 gift card to a Subway restaurant in the Chicagoland area. Subway, fresh is what we do. (3-0) the Cubs lead on an Anthony Rizzo inside the park home run, third batter of the inning. On that play, Billy Hamilton appeared to get hit by the ball in the face and was a bit woozy as he got up. He came out of the game. We do not have an update yet on how he's doing. One strike on Ben Zobrist, who started the game with a bunt single. Outside, 1-1.
And with that, Suarez, the third baseman, in on the grass now. Even with a strike on Ben.
He's 2 for 2.
He's starting to heat up. Home run and a double in the ball game last night. Kind of a low 3/4 arm angle for Reed. Sweeping delivery. I think the right-handed hitters get a pretty good look at this guy. A real key for him is going to be the ability to get that fastball in on their hands and then finish with the slider under the hands. They've got a number of kids now that can really let it go. Iglesias last night in relief was really good. A pitching prospect by the name of Stevenson down in the minor leagues they're very high on. Tell you what, John Lamb last night was impressive.
Kept his team in the game. So Chris Bryant strikes out. That's 3 now for Reed. Here's a speed replay brought to you by Xfinity. Anthony Rizzo's first career inside the park home run. Unfortunately, an injury resulted from it as Billy Hamilton went down in a heap. Speed replay brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. The first foul. Reed went undrafted out of high school, but garnered attention as a sophomore in college. He was hitting 95 on the gun. He had committed at that point to Ole Miss before the Royals took him in the second round and eventually signed him. Traded here last year and made his major league debut earlier this season. 6'5" lefty. He lobs over to first. Zobrist back.
So Reed, Lamb, Finnegan all coming over from the Royals in that deal. They're all now in the big league club.
Off the end of the bat, foul territory. Suarez, no play. Cardinals won last night in Kansas City. That series will move to St. Louis, so the Cubs lead still 10 games in the National League Central. Pirates 14 back in third. Milwaukee 16 out. Reds 22. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Reed kind of hitting his stride here after that rocky first. Good sweeping slider there to get Anthony. 4 strikeouts now for the young lefty.
Pitch to Contreras. Ball 1. Out into left center. Let's see if Zobrist can score here. He's on his way to third. He's on his way to the plate, and he's going to make it. That is an RBI double for Wilson Contreras, and it's 4-0 Cubs.
This kid continues to impress. Flexibility, the ability to move around the field, but of course the bat. Well, piece of cheese, mid-thigh, out over the plate a little bit. Explosive swing, very quick bat. Zobrist pushing hard from the get-go, able to cruise around and score the 4th run of the ball game.
In the dirt to Baez.
Talk a lot about young players when they come to the big leagues, position players. But their defense and base running, there's a fine line between aggressive and reckless. And the same thing really applies to young pitchers too. You know, you don't want to scare them out of the strike zone, but Stuff that you get away with in the minor leagues, you tend not to get away with here.
That stung. Baez needs a second. Brandon Phillips understands. Kind of landed awkwardly too. Glasses
equipment issue. Yeah.
So his 15th inning grand slam, latest by inning in Cubs history. Cliff Johnson hit one in the 14th inning in 1980 in a suspended game against the Expos. Base hit center field. Here comes Contreras. He will score. 5-0 Cubs.
How about that? After Reed gets the big boys, he punches out Bryant and Rizzo. Contreras and Baez don't let him off the hook. Back-to-back 2-out knocks.
Caesar fly to the warning track in right his first time, getting back-to-back starts. Started in center last night. He's in left today. Did play left at one point last night.
Who didn't?
Right. 0-2.
You ever put the gear on?
No. Well, I may have, but I
just remember being like when I was a kid, like in Little League and stuff. I was always envious of the catcher. He had that special equipment.
I never did it in a game. I'm sure I did it in practice, and I think I closed my eyes when the guy swung at the pitch. I said, I think that's enough for me.
That's what Deanna Navarro closes his eyes on every pitch.
Yeah, well, I didn't like it. Out. Caesar felled by that fastball. Look out. Oh my. Bat went a good 10-12 rows into the stands behind the Cub dugout on strike 3. Hopefully everybody's okay. Inning over. Cubs add 2 to their lead. It's now 5-0 in the third. Got our Bud fan cam coming up a little bit later. You can tweet us your Cubs selfies. It's hashtag Bud Fridays. Sinker on the pitcher Reed is outside. His first plate appearance. As the Cubs lead 5-0. 1-1 the count. 2 plate appearances for Reed in his major league career, a walk and a sac bunt. Called strike 3.
Travel to Pittsburgh to support your favorite team July 8th through the 10th with Cubs destinations. Packages include game tickets, hotel accommodations, a tour of PNC Park, Cubs swag, and a private meet and greet with a current Cub player. For more information, visit Cubs.com/travel.
Tyler Holt entered the game in the top of the first for defense after Billy Hamilton was injured. 2 bounces to a charging Russell, and he makes the play.
And a lot of infield instructors teach their guys that anytime you see the ball hit the dirt in front of home plate, first bounces in the dirt, start coming hard. First bounce on the grass, ball's going to be hitting a little bit different trajectory, have a little more pace to it.
Swinging strike on Votto.
So Joey Votto hitting .245 now. If I set the over and under for his season-ending batting average at .270, would you take the over or the under?
I would take the over.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Huge second half last year for Votto. He's a career .306 hitter.
In 2014, he hit .255. He only played 62 games that year. He's having leg problems. He still had a .390 on base percentage that year. His lowest single season batting average in a full season is a .297 back in 08. .32 years of age, a time when some position players start to go into a bit of a decline. But for elite players, that usually doesn't hold true. See Big Papi for evidence of that.
Votto, a Toronto, Ontario, Canada native. Waits on a 3-2. He held up. That's ball 4.
Appeared to be the right call. Skies are brightening here.
Two-out base runner, and the pitch to Phillips in there for a strike.
Contreras got something in his eye after that pitch. Puff of dust or rosin or something came off the baseball or off his mitt.
Swing and a miss.
The cut change. That was kind of an old school trick. Guys would go to the rosin bag and heavily apply, get a lot of rosin in their hand, and then throw the pitch, and the ball would come out kind of in this cloud.
Muscled into left. Votto will stop at second. Brandon Phillips trying to become the 5th second baseman ever. Put up 2,000 career hits, 200 homers, 200 steals. More than a couple of hundred hits short. 11 homers away from 200, 12 steals away. Roberto Alomar, Craig Biggio, Joe Morgan, Ryne Sandberg, all Hall of Famers are on that list.
This is a very important confrontation for Kyle here with a couple of men aboard and a very dangerous man in the box. Could change the feel of this ball game in a hurry.
Bruce, the all-time home run leader in this ballpark with 132. Contreras, I would say, has the quickest time to the mound in terms of catcher visits. Wouldn't you say? Who's going to get there faster?
Yeah, he gets out there and he doesn't stay long either.
Right.
Reminds me of the old Danny Darwin story when he was pitching for the Pirates and Jason Kendall trotted out there, said, "What do you want to do?" And Dr. Des said, "I don't know, but you got 60 feet 6 inches to figure it out. Now get out of here."
Swing and a miss. 1-2.
A little different wrinkle as he breaks out the curveball.
Baez can't get it. Votto around third. Here comes the throw by Zobrist. And Votto's out by 10 feet to end the inning.
And listen to the Cub fans.
Ben Zobrist hasn't played a ton out there in right, but he fires a strike to Contreras, and the Cubs still lead 5-0. Zobrist is as versatile as anybody on this roster, but he's only played second and right so far this season. Look at the accuracy on this throw.
Yeah, if Billy Hatcher, the third base coach, if he had a mulligan, would not send Votto there with Duvall coming up next, would have the bases loaded. It's a little better effort for Votto trying to score there too. I mean, try to take some evasive action.
Addison Russell, towering blast, center field, it'll go. Nice grab by that young fan. And it's 6-0.
Second home run of the day for the Cubs. This one more conventional after Rizzo had the inside the park home run. Addison Russell with a big swing of the bat. The Cubs just continue to bludgeon Reds pitching, especially here in this ballpark.
We'll say that fan is young at heart. Southwest Airlines, how far did it fly? 397 feet. Go to WGNTV.com/contest for a chance at round trip travel for two on Southwest Airlines.
Now Brian Price in a tough position here. He's got his young pitching prospect out there, and you hate to see him just get completely beat up. But he's got a very tired bullpen.
Tapper by Hendricks. Fair ball picked up by Barnhart.
Sometimes the starting pitcher just has to suck it up, go out there and wear one for the team. You'd prefer not to be a guy making his third major league start.
Almora Jr. takes a strike. Kivas Sampson, who replaced J.J. Hoover on their roster today, is getting loose. Another ball struck well, deep right center, gone. Home run number 1 in the big leagues for Albert Almora Jr.
It's a rather speedy trip around the bases for home run number 1 for Albert Almora Jr. The road goes on forever and the party never ends. My goodness.
Might be a little negotiating to get that baseball. Southwest Airlines, how far did it fly? 399 feet. Well, that Cub fan in the front row is probably looking at some autographed souvenirs from Mr. Almora in exchange for that ball. Go to WGNTV.com/contest for a chance to win round trip travel for two on Southwest Airlines.
So in this series, we've had a 3 home run game by one player. We've had back-to-back home runs. We've had an inside the park home run. We've had a major league first home run.
We've had a pitcher homer.
Pitcher homer.
Seven to nothing lead. So Reed gave up 4 in 7 innings in his major league debut, 5 in 5 innings his last time out, and he's given up 7, and not even through the 4th here today. Zobrist high and deep left center. Tyler Holtz got it, 2 outs.
Yeah, and remember back in the first inning, the final 2 outs that inning were both deep drives.
Had people ask about the quote ponytail, that is not a ponytail for Cody Reed. That's holding his glasses on his head. The thing hanging in the back.
Yeah. It's probably a croaky.
It's the strap you put on the glasses. It's just a little longer than it really needs to be. Knocked down by Suarez. Bryant's got an infield hit. He's 2 for 3.
Yeah, you can imagine the Cub fans go, wait a minute, this is one of our best pitching prospects. He's getting lit up like this. I recall years ago in Shea Stadium facing a young David Cone. Might have been his first start with the Mets, but it was very early in his career. And he had a game like this, and that was the same reaction by the Met fans. This guy's a bum. And he went on to have a great career.
It's always dangerous to assess a player's ability in this game on one particular performance.
Yeah, it's not just in terms of a player's performance, but the nature of baseball is such that in the short term or small sample, it's very difficult to predict. Anything can happen. Macro, it's fairly predictable. 162 game schedule. Normally the best team wins the most games. The good players put up the best numbers. That's why, you know, when a guy like Rizzo is going through a little bit of a funk, somebody's going to pay down the road. That's been the case as he's had this monster June.
Three and 2 with 2 outs.
Good story over at Fangraphs today on Anthony by Corinne Landry. Title of which Anthony Rizzo keeps getting better.
Hold back, now way in. Kids Day at the park, a lot of groups here, and the Cubs kids doing it all. I don't know if you'd say Rizzo's a kid. He's still young, mid-20s. Russell, Almora with home runs, and it's 7-0. They go for the series sweep. Lost 3 of 4 in Miami, but a chance to get to 4-3 on this season-long 11-game road trip. Off to the Big Apple to play the Mets tomorrow night. Duvall cuts and misses. Cubs have now homered 24 times in 10 games against the Reds this season. That's hit a ton, and it's gone. Duvall. It's the Reds on the board with number 22.
He becomes the league leader with his 22nd home run.
Just past Chris Bryant and Nolan Arenado.
Just the 8th home run allowed by Kyle Hendricks this year. Way up above the belt. I don't know if that was a cut fastball or one of his cut changeups. I didn't see a velocity reading on it, but it was in a bad spot. I think it was a change.
Yeah, 79.
Well,
so if I had told you, ... we like to play this game basically 3 months into the season, I had said this to you back in April. The major league home run leaders on June 29th would be Mark Trumbo and Adam Duvall. You would have said,
no way, man.
Base hit Suarez.
I would have said you're a little loopy on Skyline Chili.
And I would have been right.
He's telling Jay Bruce, here's how you do it, son.
Speaking of home runs, got another little trivia question for you. There's Peraza. There is one active player who has now, including this year, hit 20 home runs every season since 2009. He's the only one. Can you name that player?
Well, I would go Jay Bruce.
Nope. Bruce has 17 this year.
Oh, including this year.
Including this year.
Since 2009.
2009, there was one player as of last night.
Cabrera's not there yet, is he, this year?
Nope. Well, I don't know.
But he's not the guy.
It's not the answer.
As of last night. I didn't watch the highlight shows last night.
That's okay.
So I don't know who went deep.
Yeah. Peraza went, and he strikes out Nelson Cruz. Hit number 20 last night for the Mariners in a 5-2 win over the Pirates.
That's a good question. Baseball's two biggest summer events back to back. The Home Run Derby on July 11th at 7 Central, and then the very next night, don't miss baseball's biggest stars at the 87th All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. Coverage begins at 6:30 on the 12th.
Don't let me forget later to give the scoreboard stumper answer. I don't have it yet. I think we nailed it.
Reds players, surname P, who've made the All-Star team.
Yep.
David Putty.
Phillips, Perkey, Parker, Perez. There's one other.
Pinson.
Yep.
Brandon Finnegan out on deck.
Julio Urias, 19-year-old rookie with the Dodgers, got his first major league win last night. 6-5 in Milwaukee.
Zach Greinke had to leave the ball game last night with oblique tightness.
Phillies won that game in Arizona 4-3. Wild one in San Francisco. A's beat the Giants 13-11 last night. Oh, we had 3-run homer by Jake Smolinski in the 8th. Twins have lost Phil Hughes to season-ending shoulder surgery. Few teams every year have, quote, one of those years. For the Twins, that one of those years thing started very early, didn't it? Horrible start. They haven't been able to recover. Just foul into the right field corner.
But they are the leading candidate in the first pick of the draft derby for next year. .329 winning percentage for the Twinkies, 25-51.
Braves are 26-51. In the air to center. Almora misjudged it over his head, and it bounces out of play for a double. That will keep Suarez from scoring. And Brandon Finnegan will not bat. It'll be Zach Cozart instead.
That chance to score a couple runs. Brian Price is going to change his pinch hit option here. Hendricks gets a break as that ball bounces out of play. Otherwise, Suarez scores.
Almora looking at the replay. I'm not sure I've ever seen him misjudge a fly ball in spring training when he's been in a big league uniform.
Yeah, that's that one directly overhead where you don't have a real good angle. Tough to get a read. And even with a good jump, I don't know that he tracks that down.
Ball one to Cozart. Bats for Reed, and here comes Chris Bosio. 7-1, but Reds have been pretty resilient in this series. Cubs want to make sure Hendricks able to manage his way through this inning without some major damage.
And as Bosio made his way out, Kyle Hendricks having a conversation with Marty Foster, the home plate umpire, trying to get some clarification on location. He's looking for location clarification. I'm not sure if he got any satisfaction from Marty Foster. Is it away? I don't think so. Mike Winters was behind home plate last night. We saw him open up that outside corner and beyond. David Ross did a real nice job setting up out there and just kind of working it a little bit. Kyle's game is to throw strike one and then expand to stay out of the zone for the most part, but a couple guys in scoring position, he's going to be very cautious early. Cozart's got some power.
Ground ball to short. Russell doesn't even think about the runners scoring. 5-run lead now, 7-2. As Cozart gets an RBI. limit damage mode here, just trying to get that second out. And they did. So Barnhart's still at second, 2 outs, 2 runs in.
Just readjust the sights. Good work there as he finds the play at the bottom of the knees. Not much slugging from Holt.
Right field, this is Zobrist, and he's got it to end the inning. Duvall homered to lead off the inning. Cozart off the bench with an RBI ground out. 7-2 Cubs after 4. The 5th inning is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank, the Curious Bank. Mighty Ohio. Here's Kivas Sampson, first man out of the Reds bullpen. Again, lost in the shuffle last night, like John Lester's performance was the Reds bullpen up until J.J. Hoover gave it up in the 15th. They went from the 7th, Iglesias, Cingrani, Smith, Wood, through the 14th without allowing a hit before the Cubs put up 5 runs in the 15th.
So they flip-flop Hoover for Sampson. Hoover sent out, Sampson recalled. He was up for a handful of appearances earlier this year and made his debut with the Reds last season. Made 12 starts last year and 1 relief appearance. Was 2-6 with an ERA of 6.54.
Florida native, 4th rounder of the Padres in 2009.
And so 4 games here this year with the big club. Results not good. 771, too many walks.
Missed on a curve that time. 6'2", 225. Contreras grounded out in the first, knocked in a run with the double, and scored in the 3rd. Lays off a slider.
Yeah, Sampson, a 4-pitch mix, fastball, curve, slider, and change. .25 years old.
Grounded foul past third. I have pitching matchups for the weekend. John Lackey tomorrow night against lefty Steven Matz, who was pushed back a day dealing with a bone spur in the back of his pitching elbow. Jason Hamill and Jacob deGrom scheduled Friday night right here on WGN. Saturday evening it'll be Jake Arrieta and Bartolo Colon. And then we'll have Sunday's game here on Channel 9. John Lester and Noah Syndergaard. 2.03 versus 2.49 in terms of the ERA matchup in that one.
Yeah, well, a lot of low ERAs featured in that weekend series.
Two best starting rotations in baseball. If you look at the ERA, Cubs at 2.53 going into play today. Mets at 3.30. So they will miss Matt Harvey. And Kyle Hendricks, the only Cubs starter who will not get an assignment this weekend.
And 8 starting pitchers in that series. The highest ERA 3.29. That's shared by Lackey and Matz. We suspect we're going to see some low run games.
Yeah, and that number 3.29 is lower than the collective rotation ERA of everybody else in baseball. There isn't one team that has an ERA better than that aside from the Cubs and the Mets. Contreras grounds out. Let's look at the weekend in graphic form.
Always entertaining when Arrieta and Colon get together. It's a disparity in the whole world there, with Jake being the fitness guru and Bartolo the big burly right-hander, but he gets it done. Syndergaard, like Matt's, dealing with a bone spur and a little bit of an issue there in New York over that. Some debate as to what's going on with Syndergaard.
deGrom in April had a sore lat. Colon recently dealt with a thumb issue. Base hit Baez. So yeah, the Mets have had a weird go, but the results have been very good for their starters. Baez a nice day today. Warning track fly out, 2 singles. Knocked in a run his last at bat. Won't see Lucas Duda this weekend. He's on the DL with a stress fracture in his lower back. David Wright had neck surgery recently. Mets are in no hurry to bring up Jose Reyes, recently signed to a minor league deal. He's been playing some third base. And they've got Baez now, although Votto didn't make a throw after Barnhart fired to first, and I don't think he would have had Baez. So instead of holding the ball and kind of running at Baez, Barnhart got rid of it quickly, and Baez gets second base.
Yeah, Barnhart assuming Baez was going to try to scramble back to first, but Javi knew that wasn't going to happen for him, so he takes off the other way. A little hesitation by Votto. I'm not sure what Votto was thinking.
Yeah, same.
I don't think it would have mattered. But
Baez will get a stolen base out of it. His 5th. Caesar waves at a pitch in the dirt. Hey, Cubs fans, show your team pride with Cubs checking and an official Cubs MasterCard debit card, only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Cubs to learn more. Member FDIC. Home run to center in the fourth.
Addy not in the starting lineup yesterday, came into the ball game late. Took an offer in game 1 of the series. Whoa.
That was eventful. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. That one missed. 2-1. Cubs with 3 in the first on the Rizzo inside the Parker. 2 in the third. 2 in the fourth. Reds got their pair of runs in the bottom of the fourth. Struck him out swinging to end the inning. Cubs strand 2. They've got a 5-run lead.
everybody. Celebrate Independence Day at Wrigley Field Monday, the 4th of July. The Cubs take on the Reds. First pitch is at 1:20, and up to the first 10,000 early arriving fans receive a Cubs camo apron presented by the Magellan Corporation. For more information, visit Cubs.com. Yeah, the ammo apron, probably not a real good idea, but you're going to love that camo apron.
Cubs lead 7-2. In tight on Votto.
Third go around for the middle of the order against Kyle. Good run on that two-seamer.
One and two the count. In the 7th in St. Pete, Rays shutting out the Red Sox 4-0. That is David Price and Matt Moore.
Red Sox starting pitching has really been getting knocked around.
Votto stays alive. Tigers 5, Marlins 2. That's early. They're only in the bottom of the 2nd at Comerica.
Votto, as per usual, working another deep count.
Mets play tonight. Logan Verrett in for Mats. They'll face Max Scherzer. Four-and-a-half game lead for the Nationals over second place Miami. New York is 5 back. Here's a 2-2 again, and it's full. Cleveland looking for its 12th consecutive win tonight in Atlanta. Danny Salazar, pitch for the Indians.
Votto successfully defending the wicket here.
Joel De La Cruz will make his major league debut for the Braves. He is a right-hander, 27 years old.
As the whole I surrender fastball by Hendricks is like, enough here, just hit it, put it in play somewhere.
Already a 10 pitch at bat.
Walked on a 3-2 pitch last time, and I believe his base hit first time up came on a 3-2 offering. he does this more than any hitter in the game. He's either looking away or maybe looking soft, and just the late reaction to the fastball.
Got a piece of the changeup. This is fun. And he's enjoying it.
Yeah. He flipped that curveball up there, give him something different.
Ball 4.
He earned it.
Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Nothing like day baseball on WGN. Cubs and Reds. Final game of the series. Cubs looking for the sweep. Reds will come to Wrigley Field for 3 day games starting on Independence Day, Monday. Phillips pops it foul, out of play.
Phillips, you can tell by his body language, very frustrated. He had a pitch there. Something he feels like he should have done some damage with.
Towering fly to left. Caesar's got it. 1 away.
Make your eyes water tracking that fly ball.
Contreras sets up toward the outside against Bruce, who fouls to the screen. A 13-pitch plate appearance for Votto has pushed Hendricks' pitch count up near 100. We're only in the 5th. Baez charges. Did he get him? He did. Double play.
Kid is a magician.
That ends the inning.
Absolute magician. He's the Curly Neal of baseball.
A 4-3 inning ender. Wow. This Cubs double play brought to you by State Farm. Combine your car and home insurance with State Farm and save. Find an agent at statefarm.com.
How slick is that? Quick hands to apply the tag and then twist all the way around to make that throw to first base. Putting together a nice little highlight reel just in this series.
Albert Almora Jr. with his first major league home run to the opposite way in the fourth inning. Swing and a miss. Sampson with a scoreless fifth on a hit and a walk. To 3 for the out.
Cub fans, join the season ticket holder waiting list. Do it today. Claim your spot in our lineup for season tickets. It's easy and it's free to register. For details, visit Cubs.com/waiting list.
Zobrist with 2 singles and 2 runs so far, and threw out Joey Votto at the plate from right. Troy Tulowitzki homered last night for the Blue Jays in a 14-9 win over his former team, the Rockies. They had hail and a lot of rain. There was some flooding in the Rockies dugout and tunnel before they got it started. Out back. Brock Stewart, a right-hander, will pitch for the Dodgers in Milwaukee. Will be the 9th starting pitcher they've used and the 4th to make a major league debut. It's later tonight.
Say Brock or Rock?
Brock. B-R-O-C-K. Brock Stewart. 1-out walk for Zobrist. He started this season at Rancho Cucamonga. That's high A. And went to Double A, then Triple A, and now to the big league. So 4 levels already. Swung out and missed by Bryant. Pause before the pitch. Let's get our Lexus Run Predictor, brought to you by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer. Runner first, 1 out. Cubs have gotten at least a run about 1/3 of the time this year. It's above league average.
Sampson leaves that breaking ball in the zone. Could lead to 2 quick ones, but a good pitch there finds the inside corner.
got him. A slower breaking ball.
He beat him with a breaking ball in the zone. Caught him out in front a little bit. So Chris had the full house game the other day with the home runs over doubles. Today it's two pair, couple singles, couple punch outs.
Rizzo's hit streak now at 10 games. After his 3-run inside the Parker in the first inning. Chance here to improve to 24-9 against the NL Central. Throw to first almost eluded Votto. Cubs went into this series having lost 6 of 7. Trying to make it 3 in a row today.
And when you contemplated this road trip, you knew there's a good chance it was going to be tough in Miami. It's an emerging team. Mets with that pitching always tough to beat. So it's nice to have this series with the Reds in between those two matchups. Not to say that the Reds can't beat you, baseball being baseball, but Cubs have had a lot of success against them the last couple of years. Done a lot of damage in this ballpark. So the Reds proving to be the soft, creamy filling in the middle of the Oreo cookie of this road trip.
Two and 2 on Rizzo. The pitch. Roll to Phillips. Phillips to Votto. That's been said a lot over the years, hasn't it? 7-2 Cubs in the 6th.
Cubs baseball is brought to you by Budweiser, not backing down since 1876. This Bud's for you. Downtown Cincinnati. As Kyle Hendricks is back to work in the 6th. Trying to get his season mark to even. Came in at 5-6. Even though he had a 2.76 ERA.
Yeah, hasn't had a lot of run support. During his previous 7 starts, he's 3-3 despite a 2.06 ERA.
Duvall got him for a leadoff homer. Second time up. He's now 2 for 3. Leadoff single here in the 6th. We nailed the scoreboard stumper today. 5 Reds with the surname beginning with P have been named to the National League All-Star team. Tony Perez, Dave Parker, Brandon Phillips, Vada Pinson, Bob Perky. The answer.
Perky like turkey. P-U-R-K-E-Y.
Suarez takes ball 1. Hendricks right at the 100 pitch mark.
Don't get careless with Suarez. He's got power.
And hard on the ground foul.
It's just Kyle's 3rd start in this ballpark in his career. Made his major league debut here in July of 2014. Allowed 4 runs in 6 innings in that ball game, and then a start here last July allowed 5 runs in 6.
This is away. 3-2.
So a loss and a no decision for Kyle in this ballpark. The Cubs are 1-1 in his 2 starts here previous to this one.
Duvall at first, nobody out. 3-2. He got him on a foul tip. Fourth strikeout for Kyle, and here comes Peraza, the shortstop. Swings at the first one, foul ground. Rizzo makes the catch. June 29th, 1897. The Chicago Colts would later become known as the Cubs. Set a record for runs in a game. 36-7 over the Colonels of Louisville.
Colonels had no pitching.
Barnhart takes ball 1. Jumbo Diaz is up.
On this date in 1909, the Cubs lost to the Pirates at a field known as Exposition Park in Pittsburgh. It was a final game they played there. The following day, they headed over to Forbes Field. That would be on my list of parks that are no longer around.
Forbes Field.
I'd love to have seen a game.
Yeah.
That would be on the list.
There are Pirate fans that gather every year because they kept the wall, the left field wall where Mazeroski hit the home run to clinch the 1960 World Series. They kept that wall there, and every year on opening day, Pirate fans gather by the wall.
I'd love to have seen a game at Crosley Field here in Cincinnati. Called strike 3. Inning over. Might be it for Hendricks. 7-2 as we head to the 7th.
Let's take a look at today's Bud Fan Cam.
See the lights. School's out and the night's rolling, man. Just like the long lost friend you ain't seen in a while. You can't help but smile. And it's 2 bare feet on the dashboard.
That's Kenny Chesney. That's Summertime. Don't forget the next Bud Friday in the bleachers is July 15th with a Distress Cubs cap giveaway. Go to Cubs.com for more information.
Seventh inning, Contreras, soft liner will be caught by Jay Bruce.
Hendricks has the look of a guy who's going to stay in this ball game, and Joe may just go batter by batter with him here, trying to save some bullets for the bullpen. Baez having a big day. Couple knocks, an RBI, clever base running, tremendous defensive play. Got a text from big Cub fan Kelly Deshays. And her comp for Baez is Patrick Kane. With all the creativity.
Yeah, that's good. How did she get your number? Baez fouls. Yeah, I like that. He's a playmaker. Out into right center. On the move is Holt. He can't get it. Baez into second with a double. His third hit today.
Again, staying on the ball. Looks like somebody initially would be able to make a play on this ball. Bruce maybe yielded a little early to Holt. Good swing of the bat nonetheless for Baez. His third hit. First time for extra bases.
There's Caesar with a man on and one out.
And that's the beauty of sitting in the outfield. We do like, you know, 1 or 2 games every year from the outfield. You get a sense of how much real estate those guys have to cover.
Oh yeah. By the way, did you know, you notice the entrance to the visitors clubhouse is a little different looking, and they redid the entrance to the home clubhouse I think last year. Speaking of old ballparks, one of the greatest names for a ballpark ever, I think, was the Palace of the Fans. It housed the Reds for about a decade. 1902 it opened, and they had Corinthian columns, really ornate, and so the entrances to the clubhouse pay homage to that ballpark. Yeah. Knocked down by Barnhart. Only held 6,000. Their previous ballpark, League Park, caught fire and burned down following the 1901 season. Baez was on the move, and he's going to score on a base hit from Caesar. 8-2 Cubs here in the 7th.
Caesar joins the hit parade. His first today. RBI single. Yeah, might as well add on here.
Talking about a Palace and Matt Caesar.
Oh,
he's up with a hit.
Nice.
Totally coincidental. 21 times the Cubs have plated at least 8 runs.
Pretty much their average against the Reds this year. Coming into this series, they were averaging 8.5 runs against the Reds. The best mark for any one team against an opponent. Second highest was the Cardinals against the Reds.
Russell held up.
Here's a fun one. 1935. Cardinal outfielder Joe Ducky Medwick in for the cycle, but the Reds beat the Gas House gang. Paul Dean was pitching for the Cardinals. What makes it fun, of course, is that Paul Dean's nickname was Daffy, so you had the Daffy Ducky matchup in that one. Daffy Dean did not have the celebrated career that his brother Dizzy did, but injury is a big reason why. He was outstanding first couple of years in the league.
more on this date, 1913. Redland Field here in Cincinnati. Reds beat the Cubs 9-6. One baseball was used. There were no home runs. There wasn't one foul ball that landed in the stands.
And even if they were, they probably would have retrieved the ball from the stands.
Right.
Yeah, that was, typical dead ball era baseball. Hitters choked up, punched the ball. The balls were used throughout the game, so they got soft and mushy. Home runs weren't a big part of the game. Slap the ball and use your speed.
Fouled out of play.
A foul ball landed in a vacant camera well there, and fans just staring at it longingly. There's got to be a way.
Ball four. There it sits. Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers has just hit his 426th career home run. He has tied Billy Williams for 48th on the all-time list, and it was in 1969. Billy Williams Day at Wrigley Field. Played in his 896th consecutive game that day, past Stan Musial for the National League record. Got a new car, boat, and motor, washer and a dryer, pool table, among other gifts from the Cubs. It squirts away, and both runners advance.
Oh, Hendricks up there looking to sacrifice the runners along. Now we'll have a chance to swing the bat. Passed ball charged to Tucker Barnhart. Infield in.
Check out the Lexus Run Predictor, brought to you by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer. Second and third, one out.
Yeah, Kyle showing bunt there, contemplating a safety squeeze. It's a tough play with the Suarez positioned where he is. He's pretty cozy to Matt Caesar there at third base, so it's tough for him to get a big lead.
There's the bunt. Here comes Caesar. And Hendricks gets his first RBI of the season.
And you lay down a perfect bunt. Doesn't really matter much where the third baseman is. That was beautiful. Caesar just following Suarez down the line, and as soon as that ball's down, off he goes.
So Kyle Hendricks has tied his career high for RBIs in a season with one. Swing and a miss. Runner at third, 2 outs, 2 runs in. Somebody grab that baseball, JD.
Somebody get it?
I don't see it on the platform.
Somebody said Cubs are going to squeeze here. They're going to do a safety squeeze, and everybody in the ballpark is going to be watching that play, and I'm going to jump down there and grab that ball like a thief in the night.
First career homer for Albert from a 9 spot.
Yeah, there's plenty of power in there. More figures to be a guy who's give you 20 home runs over the course of a full season, eventually a bunch of doubles. For a young hitter like Almora, it's a lot about just learning how to work counts and look to do damage in hitters' counts, not necessarily being satisfied with just trying to put the ball in play the other way. I mean, certainly in certain counts, certain situations, that's your mindset. But as you develop as a hitter, you learn to work counts, play hunches with pitchers.
Second walk of the inning. Brandon Hyde, the Cubs' first base coach, has a pile of equipment to give the bat boy. He's pulling stuff out of his pockets. So Brian Price will make a change, and it'll be a double switch. Jumbo Diaz will be a part of that. So 7th inning, 9-2 Cubs, and we'll be back.
Located on the corner of Addison and Sheffield is your game day headquarters. Open hours before the game. The DraftKings Fantasy Sports Zone has large outdoor space, features live music, and a fully stocked signature Captain Morgan bar. Come out and enjoy this unique experience. Plus, fans with tickets have direct access to Wrigley Field. For more information, visit DraftKingsWrigley.com.
Jumbo Diaz. Ben Zobrist. Juan De Jesus Jr. Plays short for Peraza. Fastball catches the outside. It's 1-1.
Both stayed out of the fray last night. Worked in game 1 of the series. This changeup at 90.
This is the 87th game of the year for the 77th game of the year for the Cubs. So by weekend's end, they will have played 81. So halfway through. So right now they're at 50 wins. So they'd be on a 100 win plus pace no matter what happens the rest of this week. And still a long way to go. Suarez makes the play. Or is that Peraza over there? That's still Suarez. It's 9-2 Cubs in the 7th. The game summary. Albert Almora Jr. with his first major league home run. Anthony Rizzo with his first career inside the park home run. Big day for Baez after he hit a grand slam late last night. Adam Duvall now leads the National League by himself with 22 home runs, tied for the major league lead. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda now at your Honda dealer. Kyle Hendricks is already at his career high 110 pitches, previously 108. And Joe's going to let him start the 7th. And a sinker for a strike on De Jesus.
Yeah, limited options out in the bullpen, so it's a day where it calls for the starting pitcher to be perhaps pushed a little bit beyond the norm. And Hendricks being, a finesse guy, not a max effort, blowing and going, 95-mile-an-hour type pitcher. You're less concerned about him with a high pitch count outing. In line for his 6th win.
Ground ball to Bryant, moving to his glove side.
Do you know when the Adam Warren insertion into the rotation is supposed to happen?
I was just thinking that. No, they have not made an official announcement. I'm wondering if it'll be before Kyle's next start.
Just thinking the same thing.
Maybe stretch him out even a little more, knowing that he's got an extra day. This is a stretch of 24 in a row without an off day going into the break due to the makeup game next Thursday at home against the Braves. Elevated in the right center off the bat of Holt. Almora's got it, 2 outs. Cub fans, if you've ever wanted to sing the 7th inning stretch at Wrigley Field, here's your chance thanks to Budweiser. You can upload your video at 7thinningstretchcontest.com or buy tickets for the next Bud Friday, July 15th in the bleachers. You can try out like we did. Not backing down since 1876. This Bud's for you. So that will be it for Hendricks. And he'll get a nice hand from this big group of Cub fans here in Cincinnati. 9-2 in the 7th.
Public transportation. They offer a free bike check. That's located near the Addison Red Line station. If you drive your car, the Cubs provide free remote parking and shuttle service on night and weekend games. For more information, visit the A to Z guide at Cubs.com.
Kyle Hendricks chatting with his manager after going 6 2/3 and allowing just 2 runs on 8 hits. Fine effort. ERA at 2.76. Holding steady and trying to get to 6-6 on the year. Justin Grimm facing Joey Votto.
Justin, an inning last night, clean. 3 up, 3 down, a couple of punch outs.
Pitching line on Hendricks. 6 2/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 1 home run. 6 2/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 runs, both earned.
Votto went.
2 walks, 5 strikeouts.
Call made at third by Mike Winters.
117 pitches for Kyle this afternoon, 80 for strikes. It's a fair bit of zone time.
Cubs will head to New York. The Reds are off to Washington, D.C. They'll start a 4-gamer tomorrow night. Votto's on yet again. 3 walks and a single today.
Challenge for guys like Phillips, Votto, Bruce, the veterans that have been around here for a long time as this team goes through this rebuild, is just to find a way to find a spark every day when you come to the ballpark.
Votto runs as Phillips swings and misses on a curve.
Phillips swings at a higher percentage of pitches than anybody in the game, and he's right near the top or at the top in terms of going outside of the zone as well. Was just, what that was. He was just premeditated. Going to cheat on a heater there.
His battery will get coordinated here. Almora dives, and he caught it. Lost his glasses, but caught the ball, and the inning is over. We go to the 8th. It's 9-2 Cubs as they go for the sweep. Mattress Firm great 8 stat of the game. 5 times already Cubs have put up at least 9 runs against the Reds as Diaz on a fastball hits Chris Bryant. to start the 8th. Joe saying, I wonder what that's all about.
Yeah, that's.
Joe not happy at all. Here comes Rizzo. He's chatting with Marty Foster, the home plate umpire.
Yeah, and I always have a hard time reading intent on a pitcher, but I'm 90% sold on intentional there, which is just kind of silly at this stage of the game.
Especially considering that he didn't do the curtain call the other day in deference to the Reds. As Rizzo swings and misses. Grade 8 stat of the game, by the way, is brought to you by Mattress Firm, where we want you to sleep happy, guaranteed. Remember, if it's over 8, it's time to replace. Two other times the Cubs scored 8. So you look at the season series. Here are the scores. And the game they lost, the Reds beat them 13-5. 5-3, 9-2, 8-1, 16-0, 8-1, 9-0, 11-8, 7-2, and 9-2 today. Cubs looking to improve to 9-1 versus Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I think the idea you're getting pushed around, you want to push back a little bit, you're getting thumped. The way to do that is, one, just pitch better, and if you're going to pitch pitch inside for effect, push your hitters off the plate, but just don't drill a guy. The defensive jumbo argument, of course, he's a guy who has struggled with command throughout his career.
Well, you had the sac bunt that scored a run in the 7th, but in this ballpark, the way the series has gone.
Yeah, no, that's just
that doesn't feel overly aggressive with the pitcher at the plate.
No, that's if this was intentional, I think this is a jumbo thing. I don't think it was a Brian Price thing.
Rizzo fans, one away. Contreras went around. Here's a pitch. On a hop to Phillips. He barehanded it, and they turn it.
That was fancy.
4-6-3 to end the inning. Cubs lead 9-2 in the 8th. Chris Bryant got drilled. Fortunately, did not get injured. It was a fastball at 95. Cubs lead 9-2. Let's check out our Ford upcoming schedule. Brought to you by Ford, inviting you to visit your local Ford store or localfordstores.com. This will take you through the end of the first half as they cap that final week. Get it?
Cincinnati, Atlanta, Pittsburgh.
Jay Bruce to right over Zobrist. He'll play it on a hop. Here comes a throw to second, and Bruce is in with a sliding two-bagger.
Second hit of the day for Bruce. Singled back in the third. That was really the best chance. The Reds had to put a real big number on the board. That's the play there. Joey Votto was sent home thrown out by Ben Zobrist. Otherwise, Duvall would have been hitting with the bases loaded. If Justin Grimm was contemplating retaliation for the Bryant hit by pitch, probably regrets not doing it right there with Bruce. Rather have him standing on first than second.
Ball one to Duvall. Fastball misses away. Carl Edwards Jr. Really good last night. That one almost ended up in the Cubs radio booth. Fastball in. It's 3-1. Full count, 3-2. Trouble here. 2 on, nobody out. It'll bring up Suarez, and here comes Joe. He'll make a change, and we will be back in Cincinnati in a moment. is on.
On for the third time. He worked a scoreless inning in the ball game last night. The lanky right-hander will go mid-90s with a fastball, sharp overhand curveball, and a changeup. We haven't seen the changeup yet. Every now and then his fastball have a little cutting action. High three-quarters delivery.
Bruce doubled to start the inning. Duvall walked. That sent Grimm out of the game. And it's Edwards against Suarez. A lot of life on that fastball. 0-1. Edwards has defied the odds. He was a 48th round draft pick. Texas Rangers 2011. Ramon Cabrera, switch hitting catchers on deck. In the pitcher spot.
Pretty good gas there, 97.
Debuted just a few days after he turned 24 last September. This is his 9th major league appearance.
Racking up big strikeout numbers down at AAA this year. The walk rate awfully high as well. And you can live with walks to a certain extent when the guy gets a lot of strikeouts.
Zobrist will make the catch. Bruce tags. Duvall holds. And they stand on the corners with one out. Cabrera hitting for Diaz. Scored 7 runs before the Reds got their 2.
According to Baseball Reference, Carl's nickname is the String Bean Slinger.
Swing and a miss. 1-2.
I'm not sure if that's accurate or not.
Well, he's 6'3" and he's anywhere between 155 and 170.
It certainly fits.
He came over from Texas in the same deal that brought the guy he replaced today, Justin Grimm. That Garza deal. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Tucker Barnhart with 2 outs. The ball takes off. Contreras is going to throw through. Got him! Wilson Contreras showing off his arm from back of the plate. Let's make sure no challenge here. No, he was out. What a tag by Russell.
Tag, yeah.
Oh, man. Hey, Cub fans, if you want to sing the 7th inning stretch at Wrigley Field, here's your chance thanks to Budweiser. Nice lid, JD.
Thank you.
You can upload your video at 7thinningstretchcontest.com or buy tickets for the next Bud Friday, July 15th in the bleachers. And you can try out like these guys did. Not backing down since 1876. This Bud's for you. Ross Ollendorf, a strike on Javier Baez.
I think the whole key there is to do the read throughout the time that we're singing. So we can kind of cover up that singing performance.
That is uncomfortable to listen to. I do admit. Chopped foul. How about Contreras?
Yeah, interesting decision to try to run.
I'm assuming they thought he wouldn't throw through.
Yeah, bad assumption. Maybe they wanted to do a little reconnaissance. Hey, let's see this guy throw. Let's see what he's got. Strong throw. Great tag by Russell. He closed the gap in a hurry. The ball had a nice jump. Not a real speed demon, but still great throw.
Ollendorf strikes out Baez. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Matt Caesar looks at ball one.
Funny, you see the score. Obviously, Cubs have done a lot of hitting here today, but just every phase of the game, they've been, you think about the defensive plays that have been made in this game. Some of the base running mistakes the Reds have made. Just All phases, the Cubs really outplaying Cincinnati.
The Ollendorf windup just looks like fun. It works for him, but it's just, it makes you want to go out and try it.
That's old school.
Yeah.
Reminiscent of Warren Spahn and the boys back in the day.
Caesar draws the 1-out walk. All kinds of traffic for the Cubs in this one.
I wonder if he ever contemplates doing the double pump. You'll see those old clips of guys cranking their arm around a couple times before they get going.
Addison Russell, the batter. Here's the pitch, a swing and a foul. Paid crowd 37,188. Largest of the series. Caesar will get second on a pitch that got away from the catcher Barnhart. It is a wild pitch. John Rademacher solo homer and a 2-run double as the AA Tennessee Smokies beat Jacksonville. Road victory for the Cubs AA affiliate today. Short center. De Jesus, the shortstop's got it. 2 gone. And today's bona fide player is Albert Almora Jr. First major league home run to the opposite field in the 4th inning. 7 different players have gone deep 10 times in this 3-game series. Wrap your head around the original Italian beef of Bona. Proudly served at Wrigley Field.
And he also made a beautiful diving catch in the outfield this afternoon. Carl. Turn it loose.
Second career opportunity at the dish. It's a strike. Fans here want that 11th strikeout for the Reds. For free pizza. And they get it. We go to the bottom of the 9th. The Cubs looking to sweep Cincinnati, leading 9-2.
Sheeran's MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. Head to Cubs.com to choose your All-Star Game worthy stars and send them to the MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard on July 12th in San Diego. Voting ends tomorrow. Go to Cubs.com.
Edwards got the final 2 outs of the 8th. Stranded a couple of inherited runners. Actually, final 3 outs as catcher helped him. Contreras. Strike 1.
Carl posted real big strikeout numbers throughout his minor league career. I would suspect his MO here is breaking ball in the dirt or upstairs with a heater. Oh, a little baby cutter inside. That works too. Good pitch.
Ouch.
Walk it off.
Eric Hinsky can't help but smirk. Okay. No real surprises in terms of where it got him. The reaction was.
Yeah, most guys just crumple over at home plate and try to disguise what's going on, but Wilson is pretty evident.
Sorry.
I've never seen anybody do that.
I hate to laugh, but David Ross got one in Atlanta, right? The last run.
That needs a jingle.
Yeah, you're going to see that one again.
Very discerning eye there,
So,
Tucker Barnhart.
Will that be a kangaroo court issue, or I mean, you got to give a guy a break, right? I mean, that's ball 4. Wilson Contreras is a guy you can't take your eyes off him when he's on a baseball field. Especially today, because as you watch the pitch, he's right there in the middle of your screen. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's a dynamic player like Baez. You don't have enough eyes to keep your eyes on all the dynamic players the Cubs run out there on a daily basis. Fun today in that everybody in the starting lineup 26 years of age or younger, other than Ben Zobrist.
Called strike 3. Jesus retired. That'll bring up Tyler Holt. Edwards with an 0-1. It's a strike 0-2. Pedro Strop, who last appeared on the field as a left fielder last night. Rizzo makes a catch. Barnhart back to first, 2 outs. It was Rizzo's inside the park home run that put the Cubs on top, 3 batters into the game.
Cub fans on their feet, anticipating the 27th out here this afternoon in a 3-game sweep by the Cubs. And not retired Votto yet this afternoon, a single and 3 walks.
One and one. On the corner. Otto says no. 1-2.
See, a lot of hitters will react. Those borderline calls, and Votto's almost never wrong. Sometimes, but not often.
Edwards ready for a 1-2 delivery. Ground ball behind second. Russell to Baez. Cubs win. Cubs win. They sweep the series. 9-2 the final today.
Well, just your standard issue 9-2 win today. No pitchers playing left field. No 15th inning grand slams, anything like that, but just more damage by the Cubs against this team, and particularly in this ballpark. Cubs averaging better than 9 runs per game at the Great American Ballpark this year. They struck early, scored often. Nice response after dropping 3 out of 4 in Miami.
How about that little barehanded play by Baez to end it? They make it look easy out there, those 2 guys. So we'll have more to come from Cincinnati. Cubs 9, Reds 2, the final.